Hey, welcome back, everybody. I am Roger Godwin, the host of the Out of the Box podcast, and I guess we're going to call this a YouTube channel. So, I am here today with a friend of mine. He has been in the regular business world 9 to 5, maybe 8 to 5, 6 to 5, depending on what he had to get done. But he was doing inspections for really large projects, big commercial properties, and he is a guy that is detailed, and he decided that he needed to do something different. So we're going to hear about his story today and just be able to hear that. We actually have been sitting and having a conversation about some sentimental things from people that we love, about writing a book and just kind of doing some things to share family legacy, which is another thing that this is about. So without further ado, I would like to welcome to you my friend Wade.
Thanks for having me on, Roger.
Absolutely, man. So, dude, tell us just a little bit about you. Where you from, married, kids, a little bit like that.
So I actually grew up about 3 miles due north of here. Lived there since, first grade through high school. Bounced around a bit after that. Ended back on the south side now, but married, 3 kids.
Very cool. Well, and being just 3 miles north of here, we are in northwest Oklahoma City.
Yes.
So here in the heart of America, I like to say. And we got a lot of cool things here in Oklahoma. Like, we have more patents than any other state in the entire country.
That's cool.
I know. I love that people
have
call
more
us flyover
airports
country.
than anybody else.
I'm not surprised. Actually, I'd be a little more surprised because, like, Kansas and all the wheat and all the, Nebraska. Because I just got back from taking a trip to Montana, and there is nothing out in Wyoming, western Nebraska, western Kansas. Like, it's all flat corn and wheat. That's what you got.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, we used to live in Kansas City, and I've made the Kansas City to Oklahoma City drive many times.
I really like the Kansas City airport. It's 3 spheres. Whenever you fly in. And it's really funny because the last time I was there was probably 10 years ago, so I don't have any reference besides that. I had to walk outside of security to go get something to eat and drink and then walk back through security to get back in. It's a small airport.
Yeah. It's small, and it's inconvenient because there's not as many food options in each of the gates. But the upside is, if you're running late, because they segment everything down so small, you're never waiting long in line.
That's good. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I had to go out of security and come back in. It was just lickety split, no problem. So, Wade's been, you kind of went from a transition, so I said a little bit about it in the intro, but tell us a little bit about your story about where you went from. You got a degree, very smart, very brilliant guy. And you decided to go from a 9 to 5 into being your own boss.
Yeah. So, in different story. I say that everyone's story is unique, which means no one is. But I was at Oklahoma State, working on my engineering degree. I picked up a class just to fill a spot. I didn't even know the name of it, I don't think, at the time. Anyway, because the class I wanted was full and couldn't get in, so anyway, a spot opened up in the required class. Of course, I dropped this other one I don't care about and pick up the required class. Well, turns out that the head of the department pulls me aside one day when he sees me in the hall and says, "Hey, I want to hire you to work for me doing inspections for energy work because you sound like you're interested in it." And all I heard was, "Here's a job that's going to pay better than minimum wage." So I started doing industrial inspections on industrial facilities all over Oklahoma. And then after I graduated, got out, bounced around a little bit, and then got back into it. And then went from the industrial side to the commercial side. But there's not a lot in Oklahoma in those fields. So I've been to all the worst spots of the best places, is what my friends like to tell me. Doing different, we call them audits, but essentially it's an inspection. Going around figuring out what's there, where the opportunity for improvement is, and then making that happen.
Right on. Well, I know that, going to the best places but seeing the worst of them, I don't go to certain restaurants anymore because of that exact situation. I did a variety of fast food and across the country, franchises, and I don't eat certain places. I'll be happy to share with those offline.
Yeah, I'd spent about a month in North Dakota, and there were 2 restaurants in the town we were in, and we ate just about everything on the menu, and then we ate it again and again. And it's a good restaurant, but I don't have any desire to go back because we just had too much of it.
Yeah, no, I feel you. We had one of the places. It's basically by every truck stop in the country, and the floor was so corroded with oil and just all that stuff that it actually ate away at the concrete.
Wow.
Underneath the tile. That was a little bit scary. I relined a bunch of different restaurants in their freezers, so they had to empty out their freezers of all the food, and they had food trucks and all that stuff so we could do our job. We were in and out of there, in one night.
Right.
But oh my gosh, dude. No, high-end restaurants are nasty.
I will not say the name of it because it's a local Oklahoma City one, but I had a little bit of free time in between semesters at Oklahoma State and got a temporary job down there, and it was both the most expensive restaurant I've been in and the most disgusting.
Yeah, fair. Fair. I will tell you, Hideaway Pizza is the absolute cleanest thing I have ever seen.
You made my day. That's my favorite pizza place.
Dude, it is spotless because they're in there every single day, wiping, cleaning, everything, floors, walls, everything. It's very thorough. So if you guys got to go to pizza, local Oklahoma spot, Hideaway Pizza. There's a couple of different ones. So really like those.
Sounds good.
For sure. So, you and I were talking just a couple minutes ago about just family. But I want to ask you more so about like the go-giver philosophy. Whenever you're filling out the the documentation, so you really started your business to be based off the philosophy of the go-giver. So, tell me from each one of the points, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, so I've always liked the idea of having and running my own business, and I've started and stopped probably 10 different ones over the years, but I've always had a hard time getting a lot of traction in them because I always viewed the business as purely an investment to be analyzed and implemented. And so before I had started my current business, which is an inspection company, I had read a book called The Go-Giver and also read another book called 7 Levels of Communication. And instead of trying to be someone like Google who tries to be all things to all people everywhere, it talks about really focusing and instead of trying to run ads or marketing or telling telling everyone how awesome you are and how great your product or service is, it talks about being a giver, because givers are attractive people, not necessarily physically, but people want to be around them. They want to gravitate towards them because they think, man, like, how does this guy have so many friends? Every time someone asks him, hey, can you help me with this problem or that problem, they always might not personally be able to help them, but they've got a name or a place or suggestion. And so the Go-Giver philosophy talks about how you give in order to receive, because people want to work with you if you're that type of person, a giving type of person. And so, and I'm certainly not as technical and don't know the details as well as most people who implement it, but I think it's a great philosophy, and I think it's one of the things that's helped me get my business going significantly faster than I was told, and significantly faster than the people I've watched who started at the same time I did.
Yeah. Well, I know there's a ton of people here in the Oklahoma City market. And definitely kudos to a guy named Trey Bowden that brought just a ton of people together. And the philosophy is a fantastic one. And I've discussed this, I'm pretty sure, on the podcast. But if you read The Go Giver and you look at it, it's like this is a give to get book. It's not. You're not getting the point.
Right.
This is a give to give, and the universe, God, whatever brings it back around. Karma, whatever you want to call it.
And I should specify, this is not quid pro quo giving or transactional giving where I'm paying you for a service and you provide that service, or I give you a referral and you give one back. This is the mindset you have to have, is to be generous and give without the expectation of getting, even though it's been proven time and again that people who give and who give generously get far more back than they give out.
Absolutely. You know, my mentor, Phil Lighthill, he made me a partner in his construction company at the age of 23, just shortly after I got married. And he's 80, mid 80s now, and he's still going.
Wow, that's impressive.
Him and his first wife, before she passed away, they went on the road. Amazing story. But they went on the road and they did mission work. So she did women's ministry for churches inside the Nazarene Church.
Nice.
And he did men's ministry as well as doing the remodels and making churches look more appealing. Because it matters whenever you walk in, you know.
Definitely.
There's a welcoming and a not welcoming look. So they did that for years, and then he's been here in Oklahoma City, staying still since, probably over 20 years now, married to his second wife. He has never had a business card. He has never asked for work. He's a faithful man, and he said, God, if I'm obedient to you and I don't do those things, if I don't advertise and I don't ask, will you provide for me? And he has for over 40 years.
Which is incredible.
Yeah. And it's because people they know him, they know what he does, and it always comes through. He's in his mid-80s and people don't stop calling him. I told him if I was still in the construction business after he died, I just want his phone number. But I'm not in that business anymore. But and he's a prime example. It didn't matter where we went. We went to lunch every single day. He bought lunch, just a generous man. Did not matter. He ran into somebody that knew him.
Wow, that's impressive.
Period. No exception. And it's just he's such a great role model. Before I even knew what Go Givers was, I had a great mentor to show me that. So I'm hoping to actually have him on the show pretty soon. So
that'll be a good one to watch.
It will
listen to.
Yeah, man, he's a ton of fun. He's got a great sense of humor and spirit about him. And everybody should know Phil or somebody like Phil in their life. So, tell me what principle of the Go Giver did you like the most? Like, what really spoke to you?
I think it's the just the giving without reservation. Obviously, you don't want to give your last dime away, but go out, help people that can't necessarily help you. So it makes sense for me as an inspector to go help a realtor with the project, whether I'm getting paid or not, because they'll see that and they know that. But it's going out and offering to help people that aren't even necessarily in that industry, or helping people that aren't going to give you a return. They don't know anybody important. They don't, they're not connected, and they're not somebody who can turn around and give you business. But just going out and helping people and making the most of what gifts God has given you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely, I love it. That's the Army of Ambassadors is my favorite one.
Mm-hmm.
And because I don't usually tell people what I do, people always ask me, what I do. I'm a connector. I help connect people. If you need something done in Oklahoma City,
right,
here's my number, right? And I get phone calls all the time. Or a text message. I even had a phone call before I came here from a wholesaler friend of mine, real estate investor, trying to get a deal done called the Subject to. And I don't know anything about them, but I know the experts in Florida that's all they do,
right,
for the most part. Like, boom, here's your number to call. I may not be the person to answer the question, but I got the person. Talking to Andrew Cross, we believe in the Ford method.
Mm-hmm.
And that is that we got a button to get the smartest people in whatever industry or background that you need. I don't have to know all the answers. He doesn't. You don't. We just know because we love on people, we talk to people. That makes it easy
Mm-hmm.
to get people served because it needs to be done. Yeah, and I had Wade come to a couple of meetings, and I didn't realize we had an inspector in the group, and I'm sorry.
Don't worry.
But that's the only group that I belong to, and it's only because of camaraderie, and we do a couple of fishing trips a year, and it's just, to me, it's just social. It has nothing to do with doing business for me personally. But whenever I was doing heavy networking, I never joined BNI. I never joined Gold Star. I never joined any of the things that were exclusively only allowing X, Y, Z. And in that group, I was a construction guy, but I brought in a full remodeler and another guy that was there. That they were gone for a while, so I came in as a contractor. I was like, "Hey, can we do the outside? Like, are you okay with us being the exterior contractors?" Like, absolutely. Now I'm not even a contractor, so. And we have one of the biggest real estate brokers in Oklahoma, and I mean I flip real estate, so that's what I do now. That's what I say I do. And then if that didn't work, like, well, I'm an elected official, so that works, and then the rest of you are. So I can be in there to do whatever because it's about relationship. And the reason why I don't join those other things is because if I can't take care of my client in a timely manner, I need somebody else that I can trust. And if you're limiting yourself to one person per whatever, how are you going to find somebody else to serve your clients if you can't find anybody?
Right. When I think a lot of people have a fixed pie mindset, there's only so much business to go around, and you need to grab the biggest piece of that you can, but that's not the case. If all the home inspectors in the OKC metro area decided to quit for 6 months, I couldn't handle the business. I'm not even close.
No.
I mean, I'd be lucky working full time to do 5, maybe 7% of the transactions. That's all I did from sun up to sundown that need to be done in Oklahoma. You can make a career out of doing less than 1%. If I remember the numbers off the top of my head. So I think we need to remember, like you said, you cannot be all things to all people, and so have a network of people that you can call on and help out if you are not the best person. I don't speak Spanish. Sometimes that's a problem, and got to have somebody to refer that to. Or I know a little bit about everything, but I have the name and number of somebody that does know a lot about each of those individual things. And so, eliminating that fixed pie mindset that you want all the business, I think, is huge. And then realizing that you're not always the best person for the job is another good realization.
That's big. That's huge. Because there's a ton of people that, I have a friend of mine I don't even talk to anymore because he got really upset with me.
Mm-hmm.
Because somebody that I trust, that I brought into the fold, became a competitor for him.
Right.
And he was really butthurt. His fiance was really butthurt about it. And we stopped talking. I was like, well, I mean, you put in the work or you don't put in the work. You put in the work. He's hungry. You're not that hungry.
Yep.
I mean, it is what it is. And I can refer you, and I still love him. He's, we have a history, but I'm not going to do your job for you. I will help expand your land. I will help you be a better influence. I'll help you whatever, but you got to show. You have to show up. And that's one thing I love about you is that you show up and you're like Johnny on the spot. I mean, I called you 2 days ago. I was like, I need an inspection done. We got an offer on the house. And you were there. And you do that for a lot of your clients. And, we all appreciate that about you.
Thanks.
And it's because you have that giver mentality. So,
I also think it's interesting if you look at any industry, I don't care what it is, you look at the old pros that have been doing it for 40 years, they're more than happy to share all their quote unquote secrets of the business and how they get things done. Yet, despite sharing all that information to pretty much anyone, they have as much business as they want, with the opportunity to get more. Yet, if you look at the people who are 2 years in the business, they won't share what they're doing. Everything's top secret. They think they found some magic formula that no one else has figured out, and that's not the case. And the difference between those, the guys getting started usually, and the guys that have been doing it for a long time, like you said, they put in the work. They get up every day. They're hungry. They go look for the work. They do incredible work, and they're willing to do the things that nobody else does. I make a habit every Monday of sending out anywhere between 20 and 40 text messages to the people I work with. None of them ask for work. Not a one. I've never asked anybody for work. What I do is I check up on them. How are you going? How are you doing? How are your kids? I'm sorry your team lost yesterday. And they know me. They know who I am. And whenever the work does come up, they remember, hey, I like Wade. He helped commiserate with me.
Lost.
Yeah, he remembered when the Longhorns lost in 4 overtimes, and he said he felt bad for me. So, that's how it gets done. Most people won't do that.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And there's a ton of people that don't even make phone calls. Like, I made a point. I look on Facebook every single day to see who has a birthday,
and
I call them. And more than half the time, I'm the only phone call that they got.
Wow.
Or one of 2 or 3.
And the other one was probably their mom.
Yeah, and actually one of them was not his mama; it was his grandma.
Okay. I'm glad his grandma remembered.
Yeah, me too. It's just a personal thing, because I actually don't have my birthday listed on Facebook, so I don't get phone calls. I don't get the happy birthdays. I don't get all that stuff.
Right.
So I have a couple of people that know me and love me that call me, and so I love to surprise people with actually just a hey random hello phone call, because that doesn't happen to people either. Or just hey, happy birthday. Wanted to be somebody to actually call you, because it means something. And I tell investors all the time that want to buy some of my properties, I make phone calls to sell houses. And if you're not at the top of my mind, I'm not going to remember what you want.
Right.
So it's your responsibility to message me and to say hello and to be at the top of my mind, because you're not going to be at the top of mine unless we have regular communication, or it's your birthday and I happen to randomly phone call you or whatever. So it goes both ways, but I do everything I can to be active and to reach out to people, because I want to be, and you want to be, on the top of people's minds.
Exactly.
And we take that responsibility.
And if you're not touching base with somebody at least once a month, they're probably not going to remember you.
No, not at all. I actually called somebody the other day because I had a flip. I just saw something about Garth Brooks, and then her husband, his name is Ty, he's like the lead guitarist for Garth.
Wow.
So, but they're investors here in Oklahoma.
Cool.
And I messaged her, say, hey, I got a couple houses, or do any of these interest you? Because they buy, whenever it fits their criteria, like, done. Like,
nice.
Don't have to worry about it. Yes, I want it. Great. Well, it's closed, in 2 weeks, whatever. So it's a very unique thing that we do to network and to stay on top of people's mind, because that's going to give you longevity. That's going to give you referral after referral after referral. I don't know about you, but I don't have a big overhead because I don't pay for advertising. Why would I do that?
Right. Well, and so my company is putting on 2 events, one next week, one the week after, for realtors. It's 6 hours of continuing education, including some sponsored class or some required classes, which are difficult for them to get. And so I'm going to pay a little bit, but talked about, having friends and having connections. 90 to 95% of it is sponsored by by people other than me. And really, the only thing that I'm gonna have to pay for is a room rental because we had a last minute location change, and it's gonna, they're gonna charge us for the room. But I'm getting breakfast paid for, lunch, door prizes, everything else is covered because again I've got friends who are willing to step up and help me out. I've offered to go help sponsor stuff, but very few people are willing to take the time and effort to go put on a free event for their clients, and make that happen for them and provide value to their lives. And so whenever someone does do something like that, like my company's doing, you have a very long list of people willing to throw money at it. And I made one announcement asking for sponsors and filled all my slots. I didn't even have to get on Facebook to ask for sponsors. I didn't have to spend a lot of time reaching out to people. It took me about 5 minutes.
That's awesome. So we'll make mention of that on the live thing that we're going to do here at the end of this, so that way we can make sure people know about it to reach out to you.
Thanks.
So what's a way that you serve people that nobody else does? What makes Wade unique?
Trying to help out in a couple of ways. I think the biggest way is just being available for people past the time of service. A lot of times in this industry, there's a lot of people that will go out and they'll do a good job inspecting your home. I'm certainly not the only qualified person here, and I'm not the only person that does a great job, but you get your piece of paper, and that's the last time you hear about the home inspector. So we try to be a little bit different. We always ask for the closing date, so that the first piece of mail you get in your new house is a thank you card with your name on it, not a bill from the last person who used to live there.
That's awesome.
We make ourselves available with no time limit on the back end for any questions, comments, concerns, even if it doesn't relate directly to the home inspection. I always tell people, feel free to call with, questions. Should I be worried about this? Who do I call to fix it? I'm looking at doing a renovation, or I want to add a hot tub. Like, do you have someone that you could call? And it's maybe not fair to say this, but you find somebody online with 3 reviews, odds are it's his mom, is a parent, a spouse, and is a best friend. And we've all got to get started somewhere, and that's what mine looked like on day one. But you can never really tell who's given those reviews on Google or wherever else. And so having somebody being that person that you can call for a referral for a plumber, electrician, a roofer, if you want to do a remodel, I like to be that person staying, and be in their lives to help them out whenever they need it. Because and I'm sure you've seen this, so many terrible contractors out there. There's a lot of good ones, but there's a lot of terrible ones that leave you high and dry, or they know you don't know anything, so they're goofing off in the attic, which is why I can find 3 or 4 beer cans in some of these new builds up in the attic where no one's paying attention, and either charge you way too much, or not do a good job, and then that way you have to pay them to come back out again.
Yeah, I love whenever people are building chimneys and they throw beer cans into the sides of that. Seen that more than once.
Right?
Oh my gosh. Well, and I know that about you, and I really appreciate your transparency on not being a person that's afraid to share the tricks of the trade. Those little things that you do make the difference, and make the difference for your referral partners. It makes a difference for your clients that you have. And telling people all the time, if you answer your phone, if you respond, if you don't answer your phone, just those things alone will make you money. I had about 7 or 8 years ago, I was having to travel and do work with some different types of restaurants and some different other types of projects. To a company out of Wichita. and I had to have local electricians and I had to have local plumbers and a
Right.
local HVAC guy because we were doing add-ons to like some freezers and then some other stuff that had to be vented for roofing and all that stuff. So I couldn't do the work. I could go and orchestrate and hire everybody and get it done. I got to the point of being so frustrated of people not answering their phone. I would say, I'd go ahead and leave a message instead of just hanging up. It's like, you just lost $5,000. Click. Answer your phone. I had a job for you for $3,000 if you answered your phone. Click. I was
Wow.
a jerk. Because I got tired of calling. Dude, I would call 30 minimum people in a town. Because I had 8 different cities in Kansas to do this project for. I called 30 people every single day, trying to get them lined up for the week after or the next week or whatever. I was so frustrated.
My old job, part of it was to find subcontractors, and it's kind of like you. We were in different markets all the time, so you're always having to call new people. And I would start with a list of 20 people who looked like they were qualified. Call them. Usually get calls back from about 5, and bids from 1, maybe 2.
If you were lucky.
Yeah, and we had to have a minimum of 3 bids. So I might be on the phone with 40 different people just trying to get a couple of bids. This isn't even showing up to the job site. This is just somebody to write down on a piece of paper a number they'll do the job for.
Yeah, I've been there. We had being on city council and stuff, we had to have like at least 3 bids and then
Right.
highest, low, so we had to take cheapest and best, but it doesn't have to be the cheapest, but it needs to be the best,
Right.
better reviews and stuff like that, so we can go a step above. But we can never go for the highest, but we can always go not the lowest.
Right.
So, but getting those, talking to Mike, our guy that runs that department, is just insane. Like, I deal with it all the time too, or I used to. I don't anymore. But man, it's frustrating. Like, I just want to give you money.
Right.
That's all I want to do.
Well, I had this is a couple of months ago. I had a girl call me and tell me I was highly recommended. And I kept asking her because I want to know where my leads come from, so I can first send them a thank you card, and second, double down on that. And finally, after the inspection was over, I didn't physically corner her, but on the phone, hey, I'd really like to know where you heard my name from, so I can tell someone thank you. And she goes, well, I looked up about 4 people on Google who had good ratings, and you were the only one that picked up your phone.
That's fair. See,
so
picking up your phone makes you money, and the reviews on Google.
Yes.
So
both helpful, but you're never going to get the job if you don't pick up your phone and answer the call. It sounds silly.
Simple.
But it's not rocket science.
I know. Oh, it blows my mind, man. Because, like, dude, we could talk that all day long. I know. And for the young people, that's what's so funny about younger people is that the ones that have hustle, like Anthony, like Lucas. There's another kid named Jake. There's a guy Chris. You guys, and they do, man. They hustle and they answer their phones and they're on top of it. But sometimes they're not. But I've met a lot older people that are not. Especially with all the spam and all that stuff on my voicemail. It says, "Hey, if you're a real person, send me a text."
Right.
Because I get 20 spam calls a day, and it drives me insane. But actually, I still need to get registered on the national do not call list.
You find a way to keep all those people from talking about your internet business listing to quit calling you. Let me know.
Well, if you get them, so here's an interesting thing. Some guys here in Oklahoma have been sued by a guy out of California that is on the do not call list.
Nice.
But his name is on different lists. They offered him a price on a house. And he's like, yeah, I'll talk to you. And then blah, 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 blah. $3,000 to $30,000. He gets paid because he's on the net. It doesn't matter that he answers the phone and talks.
Wow.
It's the fact that you called him and he doesn't know you. And he does. That's all he does for a living is he sues people that call him for services or for houses that he has.
That's crazy. You can make a living doing that.
Well, ignorance is no excuse. I've been bitten more than once. Your ignorance is no excuse.
Yes.
So, but get on the National Do Not Call list, and then you can start making some money.
Sounds good.
I talked to an attorney about that. I was like, how do I do? Like, I don't have property that people call me and bombard me about. But you get the robocalls and you get all this stuff. So it's like, how do I do this? Like, I need the step-by-step process, and we're gonna sell a course,
Right.
so we can all make some money. So I thought, I mean, you know, and I talked to my mentor, one of my mentors, about it. It's like, should I or should I not? It's like, well, they're breaking the law. Everybody does not like. Nobody likes them.
Right.
I don't like getting texts on my phone from people, and I learned how they do it because I went and talked to some of these young guys that do this kind of business, and so I don't know. It's just it's an interesting life and situation. So
That's for sure.
yeah. Well, Wade, is there anything else that you want to like just talk about? Anything that's kind of on your heart, on your mind? You want to share some wisdom, anything like that?
You know, I'll just finish it up with do great work, pick up your phone, show up on time. If you can do that, you can have a business, you can run it too, and you can do well and charge double the competition, and that people will still find you and call you.
They will. They absolutely will. That's a great point on the people even pay double. I'm willing to pay more for insurance because I could get new insurance on my house, on my cars, I could.
Right.
But it's the service that I have with the person that I have that matters to me.
Exactly.
I don't care. I gotta pay money anyways. If it's an extra 20, 30, 50, even $100 a year, I don't care. I know that my guy's gonna take care of me.
Exactly. You're paying a little bit more today to save you on the back end. You know, whenever your roof gets totaled, whenever you get rear-ended and your car hits the person in front of you, your insurance agent steps up and, you know, takes control, or fill in the blank with whatever industry. It will get paid back many times over.
Oh, absolutely. And it does, because I've actually, my roof is metal, so it's never going to be totaled. Unless like not golf ball. I think they said
Bowling ball.
Well, almost. I think they said softball size hail has to hit my house.
Wow.
For me to have enough damage to get it replaced. So it's just fine. You know, I'm thankful. I got legit stuff. But I've been in 2 accidents in the last 10 years, and we had to contest both of them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because we're like, oh, you hurt my back. It's like, you were out walking around. I sideswiped you.
Right.
Your back doesn't hurt. Your whiplash doesn't hurt. You know, whatever. Anyways, those are really interesting. That was in Louisiana, so I wasn't surprised. But, and then the other one, a lady came and hit me.
Ooh. So
I was turning one way. She was turning the other way. I stopped. I was at a dead stop before I hit the turn, the suicide lane, right? The middle lane. And she, I guess, was looking back the other way to make sure still nobody was coming, and she just didn't stop. Just
Ooh.
It messed her car up. Mine was like a little, I got a big Ford 350. Like I got a little white paint scratch on my bumper below my light. So, but she was okay. But it's very interesting. But I don't have to worry about it because I know that my insurance company is going to take care of me because my guy Dathan is going to take care of me. So, and I'm willing to pay more. So, Wade, thank you so much for your time. And how do you pronounce your last name?
Svetgoff, kind of like you're sweating and playing golf.
Gotcha. See, now I know. Svetgoff. There we go. Well, hey, thank you again so much for being on the show. Thank you for your time. I appreciate your heart. I appreciate the way you serve and love people here in Oklahoma City.
Thanks. I appreciate you too.
Absolutely.